about now, then, she's known on this show for sharing wisdom, advice and compassionate support. But today, our resident life coach, Michelle Elman, is here to share a deeply personal story that has recently rocked her world.
Michelle's fairy tale engagement turned into a nightmare last month when she discovered a shocking betrayal about her partner just 24 hours after she'd said yes.
You're here alongside us now to hopefully share some invaluable support for our viewers who maybe have been through a similar thing, Michelle. I think this is the last thing any of us expected.
I know. I mean, I was here last week, I was sat on this sofa doing a phone-in on friendship breakups, and I guess what everyone behind the scenes knew but publicly did not know is that I was also going through a massive heartbreak at the time, and I think I'm doing okay, but I mean, the joke I'd be making with my friends is this what self-esteem looks like? Because I'm doing more okay than I ever thought I would be.
Yeah.
So you've bolstered yourself. Just explain a little bit about this relationship, because you were with your partner
we were together for 3
years.
years. We lived together for 2. We met on a dating app. He was my first date after the pandemic, actually. And, yeah, in my eyes, the love of my life, the healthiest relationship I've ever had. And then we got engaged on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, I got a DM from a woman who followed me, who'd read all my books. She had read my dating book about him. It wasn't about him. It was a dating book about how to be single, and the last chapter was about him. And had taken so much advice around it, and then just said, hey, is your fiancé this person, with his name? And that's how it started. And I ended up speaking to her for an hour. On the phone, found it all out. He was there.
They'd been in a relationship for how long?
They hadn't been in a relationship, it was one night. They had texted since. The last time they texted was January, but he was on a dating app, and so he said he was on a business trip, he went on a dating app on the business trip, and
Did you have... Because obviously it was a serious relationship. I mean, you'd gone ring shopping, you'd been together for years.
Yeah.
Did you have even the slightest inkling? Was there something in the back of your mind that was just like, nah, this doesn't sit quite right?
The first question you always get asked, were there red flags? Did you miss something?
Yeah.
Like, I fully back myself. I'm an emotionally intelligent, smart, switched-on woman.
More so than the average bear,
and
actually,
I have
because...
every tool in my toolkit to notice red flags. But if someone wants to lie to you and wants to deceive you, it doesn't matter if you spend all 24 hours together, we live together, we work together 3 days out the week. If they want to lie to you, they will. And even looking back, like, wholeheartedly, there were no red flags. I was in a relationship with the love of my life, and the only thing that, in hindsight, I could have done was go on his phone to find out. But in my mind, as a life coach, the moment you've gone on their phone, that's the relationship over. You've already lost. Like, you don't trust them, and you shouldn't. Trust isn't based off having gone on their phone and checked that they're not messaging anyone.
No.
And anyway, there wouldn't have been anything anyway, because he deleted it all.
What was his reaction then when suddenly it became apparent that you'd had this message? Because what I can't understand, Michelle, is that you have a public profile. You have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media. You write books. You posted about how excited you were to be engaged. How he thought he was going to get away with it? I
don't think there was a lot of thought behind it. His whole message throughout all of this, even to this day, I spoke to him last night just to give him a heads up about today, is that he loves me, he wants me back, I'm the best thing that's ever happened to him. The last 3 years were the best years of his life, and he ruined it. And he will do anything, to the point where he said, go on air, say whatever you need, do what you need to do, and ultimately he's just said, I'm so sorry, this has impacted your career. And that's his mindset. I don't know what he was thinking, and I don't want to speak on behalf of him, but if there's any justification, I guess, why I didn't think this would blow up is because, yes, I've been on This Morning for a year. Yes, I have 4 books out, one of them's about him, and I have 500,000 followers online, but I live a normal life. I've taken this guy to the Brits, and no one's taken a photo of him. Like, for 3 years, I've never shared him publicly online. I have gone to James Bond premiere with him. No one's taken a picture of him. There was even a time where a paparazzi took a picture of him, and I asked him to delete it, and because I wasn't a celebrity, no one cared, the paparazzi deleted it, never posted it. Like, and that's where, yes, I was a public figure, but there was no public interest in my personal life. I was a public figure for being a life coach. And that's what I was known for.
And like you said, you know, you are a public figure. You do move in those circles, but you're also just a girl too.
Yeah.
So what was that moment like when you found out? And also, did you confront him straight away, or how did you go about it?
So he was with me when I got the first message saying, is this person your fiancé? And that was the first initial message. And I've had messages like that because actually on our third date, one of his family friends figured out who I was dating because of a picture of a dog and his cat. And so I thought it was a colleague. So I was like, oh, who's this person? Like, this person knows you.
Yeah.
And it took a while to figure out. I guess my first reaction was shock. I was just shaking and I just kept saying, please tell me first. Just tell me first. I don't want to find out from her. And then it was the screenshots of the dating profile, his number, and that's when I asked her for, like, proof of... Like, I believed her from the get-go, but I was like, I need proof he was with me, he was sat next to me while all of this was happening, but I said, like, can you just... And she said, told me the hotel, and I said, put that in your email, and that's when it came up.
Wow.
And then he admitted it to others as well. And
there were other people that he had affairs with.
And that was him, and he had admitted it. But I think my reaction was just, you've ruined a good thing. Like, this is meant to be the happiest weekend of my life. And we were good. Like, it was shock. And I think that first week especially, I was like, am I numb because I'm doing too okay? I'm obviously bald. I went to go be with my sister for a week. I had a competition with my 2-year-old niece of who could cry the loudest. It was really fun. I don't think she realised she was competing with me, but I definitely won. And yeah, I think it's piece by piece, but I think the nuance and the complexity with cheating that I wish we could include in the conversation is you still deeply love the person.
Yes.
The reason why I never shared him is because I've always wanted to protect him. And you could call me fat, you can call me ugly, I've been called every name in the book. Don't care. I'm more than my appearance. Don't really care what you think of what I look like. If you said that to my partner, my heart would break. Like, do not insult the person I love most in this world. That's why I never shared him. And even throughout all of this, I don't want his identity to come out because this is not a story about him. It's a story about me. I want to talk on behalf of women who've been cheated on and say, you do not have to be ashamed. You do not have to be humiliated. You do not have to be embarrassed. And any shame you are feeling belongs to them. It does not belong to you. And you do not need to be embarrassed.
God, it's extraordinary hearing you talk, Michelle. That resilience and self-esteem is brimming through you, and rightly so. I wonder how you feel about this relationship now, though, because, as you say, he's the person that you love most in the world. He's told you he's sorry.
It was quite
he wants you
immediate.
back.
The thing with infidelity is if you ever want to stay, you become a protector of his secret, unfortunately. And so the first day I actually...
What do you mean by that, Michelle?
Because you can't... I mean, I told you last week I'm writing a book on friendship breakups. Like, the research has shown the divorce rates are so much higher if your friends don't like him. So if you have been cheated on and you tell your friends, your family, the whole world at this point, that you've been cheated on, how do you have a life together? You can't. And so the first day, I only told my sister, who is 12 years older, has a lot more nuanced view on relationships, and one friend who's also going through a breakup. But I didn't tell anyone else. And then it was the next day, it was 4 a.m. the next day, I was like, no, I can't stay. Like, the first day, my headspace as a life coach was, you don't make big decisions in the moment.
No.
It was the next day, I was like, no, you do not return to the person who hurt you to heal you, first of all. Second of all, he never told me the truth. The lying's bigger than the cheating.
Yeah.
The cheating was quite big as well. And the nail in the coffin was 4 a.m. on the next day, I told my dad. And that's the... You can't come back from that.
No, you can't come back from it, Dad.
I've told all my friends now, also because he asked my dad for his blessing in December. So you really can't come back from that.
No, you can't. No, there is no coming back.
If you choose to stay, and even if you don't choose to stay, I don't judge any woman who wants to stay and work it out. But if you want to work it out, you do become a protector of that secret because you need the people in your life to also like him. And even if you don't stay and you have kids, you still become a protector of his secret because you don't want the kids to hate their father.
Okay.
And that's the part that...
There's so much to unpick with it.
My goodness,
You talking about it is hugely important. Quick reminder that today's phone-in, if you're going through a heartbreak like this, Deirdre's going to be here, Michelle's going to be taking part as well.